7:25, we'll call utilities to order.
All right, Mr. Cohen, could you give us a brief update on the sewer plant and where we're at with that?
There's the one piece that had us behind so far is been put behind again. Now it's got us at the end of July.
Nice.
So everything else coming along good down there.
All the pump stations and everything good?
As of right now, yeah.
Generators.
Fingers crossed. We did have an issue at the old sewer plant. A couple of pumps quit working. We had to run one to keep everything flowing. The electric pump that was bought last year, I believe, the 4-inch, is in Jackson getting rebuilt. So I know they were wanting to buy new ones down there, and I finally talked to them and convinced them, you know, this new plant's gonna open. Why do we wanna waste that budget here when it can't be used again in the new plant? So let's rent it, because the renting's quite a bit cheaper.
And plus, if it blows up here in Ohio, we'll just go get another one.
They'll bring us some money.
What's it in
The
there?
big generator pump we had down there, it went to Marietta. They quit working too, the control board in it quit working. So when they brought the rental pump up, they loaded that up and took it.
Good deal. The water lines, how many leaks have you guys had? Has the water lines gotten any better, or are you?
They have gotten better. Speaking of water lines, let me bring this up real quick. When we were talking in the last meeting, in the street meeting, and then listening to Taylor, how he's wanting to be ahead. So when they go through and they're gonna pave Meyer Street, I was down there looking, and we've got one big section down there that's just burning right now, because when that blew, it lifted the road like 9 inches. We've had quite a few leaks down there. I'd like to replace that water main. It's an 8-inch. I'm waiting on a price on pipe, but it only makes sense to me to replace it now before the asphalt. I know Michael Betts was gonna try and work it in on the next phase of water, but like I told him today, I said, they're putting new asphalt down. Why would we want to cut it to dig it up?
Amen.
And it's, it's something our guys can do.
Good.
So I'm waiting on a price on pipe, but we might have to do a finance committee meeting if we go to do it, because we may have to find some money. So that way we don't completely break our accounts in water already this year, but it only makes sense to replace it.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, if that needs to happen, I believe the water fund can help fund that. Since it's a water repair, if I'm not mistaken.
And then also, we did find a water leak on an 8-inch line in the middle of Canal Street at Monroe. So the sewer project's digging down through there, and they have to tear out the old sewer line, put the new in as they're going. They've got a bypass from Meyer Street to Fayette. And when they got into a piece of pipe, water just started pouring out. So it took us a couple days to figure out. I mean, you're just blind for 2 blocks. There's water that's coming into the pipe somewhere. We figured it out today. The sewer line's got a hole rubbed in top of it, about 4 by 6 inches. And there's a storm tunnel running down the middle of Canal Street. None of the guys, Delbert, none of them knew about. That water line's going through it, and it's actually leaking in the wall. And it's running down and was going right in there. Yeah, because they had that pipe plugged off when they were bypassing. Nobody could figure out why we kept getting all this water. Because it was
There's another line.
so we've got that figured out. We've got it shut down right now. We're gonna put dead end caps in for the time being at Canal on both sides on Monroe. And we'll probably have to get a directional boring machine up here to drill across to get us under that tunnel.
No, at least we found it before it found us.
Yeah, and then, you know, our water loss rates are up there pretty high. Well, with that running into, and our INI's been high, so with that running into there, and then that storm tunnel that nobody knew was there,
That would do it.
we could have quite a bit of water loss coming from that.
That's why my water's so low. I'm sorry.
Your pressure should still be pretty good.
No, mine is trickling.
Really?
And I can't tell my landlord because he's in Florida.
It's his fault.
Yeah, but maybe it's a
I'm,
roof that you need to check.
I have a question. We're scheduled for a sewer rate increase in 23, correct? 23 and 24?
I believe so, to keep up with the loan that was presented whenever we did the, to keep up with the loan process.
Right, and 5% was it?
I don't know, I'd have to look to make sure on that, I don't know for sure on that. I know we had to raise it at the end of last year because we missed the mid-year raise,
Yeah,
so that we had to do a double raise.
well, I just didn't want sticker shock for these polls.
Oh,
Kind of know ahead of
There
time.
is going to be there is going to be more sewer rate increases, just for the plain and simple fact that we have to keep up ahead of the pace for the loan project that we have going on with our sewer plant. I think we still have the cheapest sewer rates in the county probably, but still.
And a quick question for Jason, our storm drains, what kind of condition, are there any really bad areas right now with storm drains?
We got places that need storm drains that they don't
Corner of Adams and Washington.
have. Yeah, but I mean, Chestnut
Oh,
Street,
I know where that is.
Chestnut Street down through there, we've got some pretty bad places. We need money for storm.
In the past, like year or two or since you've been here, has any of those places been identified, any kind of chart to say what we have going on with all that?
You've been doing the mapping of the water lines that you replaced and stuff, haven't you? That have been replaced. You've been
Yeah,
mapping them.
we
and
add
defining
them and update the info on the GIS.
I mean, Scott, the former city manager, brought up several times about the rainwater, the roof
Yeah, and that's why
Rainwater
I'm kind of going with
that
it.
has been in several different communities. I know Athens does it, Lancaster does it, and it's a formulation that figures up your roof square footage of your roof of your building and how much water runs off of it into the storm drains. But it's one of those things that we've held off due to the sewer plant money increases. We just didn't want to attack put all these fees out there right away. But that is something eventually we're going to have to address.
Yeah, if we're looking down the road 3 to 5 years, it'd kind of be nice to know going into it what we're looking at.
Because what would you say the percent, how much stormwater goes to the sewer plant? A lot. It's all tied together.
Oh, yeah, it's.
Back in the day, they just ran the
I mean,
storm drain right in the sewer.
We've been trying to find spots and fix them as we go. We got a company gonna come in and they're gonna line one of our manholes for us to show us how it works. By lining the manhole, you can do away with I&I, have that manhole, and it's actually cheaper. It's roughly the same cost as a precast, but you take the labor and the backfill.
You talking about lining the sewer lines, lining them,
No, lining the manholes. not
lining the
sewer
manholes.
Because all of our brick, most of our manholes
Are
are
brick,
brick.
yeah.
And water's infiltrating through the
Yeah.
brick now. So they line these manholes, and we went to a thing up at BLZ where they were in, did a presentation. It's used very commonly all over Ohio.
Okay.
So they're gonna come down, they told us to pick one out. And they're gonna come down and demonstrate and do one for us for free to show us how it works. It dries it, they gotta plug off the sewer so they can get down in there, but it dries within 20 minutes. And I spray it home.
Good. That will help.
It starts with like a rubber coating, and then it's got foam, and then another rubber coating. It's bright orange. Everyone that's open, you know, it's been sprayed, but it completely eliminates the I&I coming through the bricks.
Which every street in this town is brick. It's just concreted or paved over.
Right.
I would say 93, 94% of our manholes are brick,
Oh, absolutely.
old laid up brick.
Yep.
So, I mean, if we can go in and do it for the cost of a precast, minus the labor and and all the backfill and the time. It's a no-brainer to just go in and have them coated.
Thank you. I didn't want to blindside you with all that, but thank you.
All right. I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything?
Being adjourned.
7:34.